Greetings! Mantare79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a G standard formats. Dimension Police, New Era Beast Zeal with Harmonics Messiah. Alrighty, let's get started. And here we are in the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s of this deck, we are playing 1 Grade 0 Larva Beast Zeal. The Grade 0 Larva Beast Zeal starting unit. Skills for skill auto. When a card named Eye of Destruction Zeal rides this unit, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Search up to 1 card named Galactic Beast Zeal or Devour Planet Zeal from among them. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Second skill auto. When a Dimension Police other than a card named Eye of Destruction Zeal rides this unit, you may call this card to rearguard circle. So for Larva Beast Zeal, it's the starting unit of this deck. If it skills the first skill, as long as you've managed to write Eye of Destruction Zeal on top of it, you can then have the chance to either search your deck for Galactic Beast Zeal or Devour Planet Zeal to write with later when it's time to go to Grade 2 or Grade 3. And the second skill, if you choose to write any other Dimension Police card other than Eye of Destruction Zeal on top of Larva Beast Zeal, you have the opportunity to move Larva Beast Zeal from your soul to the rear guard to serve as a potential attacker for the front row or booster for the back row. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Now let's get on to the Grade 1 lineup. And now for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 1 Eye of Destruction Zeal, 3 Grade 1 Evolution Monster, Gzone, 2 Grade 1 Reducing Monster, Weaking, and 4 Grade 1 Cosmic Hero, Grand Guard. The Grade 1 Eye of Destruction Zeal. Skills. First skill, continuous as a Vanguard. If you have a card named Larva Beast Zeal in your soul, this unit gets plus 1000 power. Second skill, auto. When a card named Devour Planet Zeal rides this unit, if you have a card named Larva Beast Zeal in your soul, choose one of your opponent's Vanguard, and that unit gets minus 3000 power until end of turn. So for Eye of Destruction Zeal, it's one of the main Grade 1s to play in this deck. The skills, the first skill, just by having Larva Beast Zeal in your soul, your Vanguard Eye of Destruction Zeal will then get plus 1000 power at all times, including both on your turn and your opponent's turn. Second skill, just by riding Devour Planet Zeal on top of Eye of Destruction Zeal, as long as the conditions of the skill are met, you can then weaken your opponent's Vanguard by 3000 power, giving you an easier chance to land damage into your opponent early on. The Grade 1 Evolution Monster, Gzone. Skill, auto. Choose one of your other rear guards, put it into your soul. When the cost is paid, when this unit is placed in the rear guard circle, if you do, search your deck for up to 1 card of Zeal in its card name with the same grade as your Vanguard, write a stand, and shuffle your deck. If you roll, choose a card from your soul of the same grade as your Vanguard, called to rear guard. Choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, and it gets minus 3000 power until end of turn. So for Gzone, it's a support card for the Zeal series with its skill. Just by paying the cost when you call Gzone to the rear guard, not only do you have the chance to superior write a Zeal to your Vanguard on any grade, but also you have the chance to then superior call any card that's the same grade as your Vanguard to your rear guard and weaken your opponent's Vanguard by 3000 power, giving you a Zeal Vanguard, another rear guard to attack with or boost with, and also to weaken your opponent's Vanguard to make your attacks more likely to hit. The Grade 1 Reducing Monster, Weaking. Skill, auto as a rear guard. Cost, Soul Blast 2. When your Vanguard attacks or is attacked, you may pay the cost. If the cost is paid, if you do, choose one of your opponent's units in the front row and it gets minus 10,000 power until end of battle. So for Weakening, it's a pretty good card to play in your Dimension Police decks, especially for Zeal. With its skill, on either player's turn when your Vanguard attacks or when your own Vanguard is being attacked, you can then pay the cost to reduce one front row unit on your opponent's field, Vanguard Rearguard by 10,000 power, giving you an easier chance to land damage or to protect yourself from damage. The Great One, Cosmic Hero, Grand Guard, Sentinel, Perfect Guard, skills. First skill, Continuous Sentinel. Second skill, Auto, choose a card from your hand, discard it. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your Vanguards that is being attacked and that unit cannot be hit until end of battle. Then, if there's a card named Cosmic Hero Grand Guard in your drop zone, choose a card from your damage zone and return it face up. So for Grand Guard, it's a perfect guard for the Dimension Police clan. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding one card from your hand, you can block one enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to perfect guards in the G standard format. After being used to guard, while the conditions of the skill are met, you can countercharge one, giving you more counterblast to work with later in the game. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Great 1 lineup. Next, let's get on to the Great 2 lineup. And now for the Great 2 lineup. For the Great 2s of this deck, we are playing 4 Great 2 Devour of Planets Zeal, 4 Great 2 Ionization Monster Plasm, and 2 Great 2 Menacing Monster Gold Menace. The Great 2 Devour Planet Zeal, skills. For skill, Continuous as a Vanguard. If you have a card named Eye of Destruction Zeal in your soul, this unit gets plus 1000 power. And second skill, Auto, when a card named Galactic Beast Zeal rises this unit. If you have a card named Eye of Destruction Zeal in your soul, choose one of your opponent's Vanguard, and that unit gets minus 3000 power until end of turn. So for Devour Planet's Zeal, it's one of the main Great 2s of this deck. With its skill, the first skill, as long as the conditions of the first skill are met, your Vanguard, Devour Planet's Zeal, can then serve as a potential 10,000 point Vanguard for the remainder of your fight. And the second skill, just by riding Galactic Beast Zeal on top of Devour Planet's Zeal, and as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, you can weaken your opponent's Vanguard by 3000 power, giving you an easier chance to land damage and pressure and finish them off with. The Great 2 Ionization Monster Plasm, skill, Auto as a Vanguard Rearguard, cost Counterblast 1. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and it gets minus 3000 power until end of turn. So for Plasm, a pretty decent card to play in your Dimension Police decks, especially for your Zeal decks. With skill, whenever your Vanguard or Rearguard Plasm lands a successful Vanguard attack by paying the cost, you can weaken your opponent's Vanguard by 3000 power, giving you an easier chance to land attacks, deal damage, and potentially pressure finish them off with. And the Great 2 Menacing Monster Gold Menace, skill, Auto, cost Soul Blast 1. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's units, and that unit gets minus 5000 power until end of turn. So for Gold Menace, it's more or less a defensive skill that can be best used for your Dimension Police decks, especially for the Zeal deck. With its skill, when used to guard with while the cost is paid, you can weaken the attacking unit's power by 5000, giving you an easier chance to block your opponent's attacks. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Great 2 lineup. Next, let's get on to the Great 3 lineup. And now for the Great 3 lineup. For the Great 3s of this deck, we are playing 4 Great 3 New Era Beast Zeal, 4 Great 3 Galactic Beast Zeal, and 2 Great 3 Original Saber 0. The Great 3 New Era Beast Zeal, skills. For skill, action as a Vanguard, Legion 21,000 power, Galactus Beast Zeal. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit will return 4 cards from your drop zone to your deck once. Search your deck for the specified card, Galactic Beast Zeal and Legion. Second skill, Auto as a Vanguard, cost Counterblast 1. When a card is put into your damage zone, if this unit is in Legion, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's units and it gets minus 1000 power for each of your Vanguard or Rearguard until end of turn. And the third skill, Auto is a Vanguard. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, if your opponent's Vanguard has a power of 8,000 or less, Soul Charge 1, choose a card from your damage zone and turn it face up. So for new Era V Zeal, it's one of the main grade 3s to ride in this deck with its skill, the first skill. For those of you who are familiar with the Legion mechanic, it's simple. Just when your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, by returning 4 cards from your drop zone to your deck once, you can Legion Galactic V Zeal from your deck to your Vanguard, thus giving you more options for attacking and skills from your Vanguard. And the second skill, whenever a card is put into your damage zone during your opponent's turn, as long as you're Legion when it happens, by paying the cost of Counterblast 1, you'll be able to weaken one of your opponent's units by 1,000 power for every card in your Vanguard rear guard, giving you a easier time to block or defend against your opponent's remaining attacks. And the third skill, whenever your Vanguard lands a successful attack while the conditions of the skill are met, you can Soul Charge 1 and Counter Charge 1, giving you more cards to Soul Blast with and more Counter Blast to work with as well. The grade 3 Galactic V Zeal, skills for skill, action as a Vanguard, limit break 4. This ability is active if you have 4 or more cards in damage. Cost Counterblast 2. If the cost and pay, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and it gets minus 1,000 power for each of your Dimension Police rear guards until end of turn. This ability cannot be used for the rest of the turn. And second skill, continuous as a Vanguard. If you have Devour Planet's Zeal in your soul, this unit gets plus 1,000 power. So for Galactic V Zeal, it's one of the main grade 3s to play in this deck with its skill, the first skill, as long as you can meet the conditions of the limit break, which is having 4 more cards in your damage zone. By paying a cost of Counterblast 2, you can weaken your opponent's Vanguard's power by 1,000 for every card in your rear guard, thus giving you a easier chance to weaken and then later land damage on your opponent. Any second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, your Vanguard Galactic V Zeal can then serve as a potential 11,000 point attacker from your Vanguard. And the grade 3, Original Saver, 0, skills for skill, auto, limit break 4. This ability is active if you have 4 more damage. When a Dimension Police rides this unit, choose your Vanguard and until end of turn. This unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Choose one of your opponent's Vanguard and until end of turn, it gets minus 5,000 power. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard. When this unit is boosted by a Dimension Police, this unit gets plus 2,000 power until end of battle. And third skill, Vanguard or Rear Guard, Lord. If you have a unit without the same class as this unit, this unit cannot attack. So for Original Saver 0, is one of the other main grade 3s to play in this deck. With its skills, the first skill, like any other, it's pretty much a break ride skill. When you ride a grade 3 or higher Dimension Police on top of it while you have 4 more damage, not only do you get to give your Vanguard plus 10,000 power, but also weaken your opponent's Vanguard by minus 5,000 power, making it easier to land your upcoming attacks to your opponent to pressure finish them off with. Any second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, you can give your Vanguard Original Saver 0 plus 2,000 power. Any third skill is just a restriction skill. If you have a card on your field that's not the same class as your Vanguard, you cannot attack. So with that, we just about covered the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on to the trigger lineup. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 4 grade 0, Impurity Monster, Die Bruber, critical trigger. 4 grade 0, Quake Being, Namazoro, critical trigger. 4 grade 0, Dimensional Robo, Die Blue, draw trigger. And 4 grade 0, Dimensional Robo Outfitter, Cassie, heal trigger. The grade 0, Impurity Monster, Die Bruber, critical trigger, skill, continuous from the hand. While paying the cost for stride, this card may be discarded as a grade 3. So for Die Bruber, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks. With its skill, when discarded for the cost of a stride cost, its card is counted as a grade 3, thus reducing the number of cards you have to usually discard for a stride cost. The grade 0, Quake Being, Namazoro, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard, generation break 1, when your Vanguard attacks, cost, put this unit in your soul. If the cost and pay, draw a card, and one of your Vanguards gets plus 10,000 power until end of battle. So for Namazoro, another powerful critical trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill. while your Vanguard attacks, while you have Namazoro in the rear guard, as long as you don't mind moving Namazoro from your rear guard into your soul, not only do you get to build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also draw more cards and to give your Vanguard more power to work with. The Grade Zero, Dimensional Robo, Die Bloom, Draw Trigger, Skill, Action is a rear guard. Put this unit in your soul. If the cost and paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 3,000 power until end of turn. So for Die Bloom, it's a powerful draw trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill. As long as you don't mind moving Die Bloom from your rear guard to your soul, not only do you get to build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also give your remaining attackers in the field a little extra power to work with. And the Grade Zero, Dimensional Robo Outfitter, Cassie, Heal Trigger, Skill, Auto. When this card is discarded from hand for the cost of calling a G Guardian, cost, bind this card and bind another Heal Trigger from your drop zone. If the cost is paid, then you can counter charge 1 or soul charge 1. So for Cassie, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill. When discarded from your hand for calling a G Guardian, as long as you don't mind binding this card and binding one other heal trigger from your drop zone, you can choose to either refund your counter blast or build up your soul for later Soul Blast. And if that, which is about cover the deck's trigger lineup, for the triggers of this deck we are playing 8 critical triggers, 4 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And now for the Gzone. For the cards in this Gzone, we are starting with the G units. For the G units in this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 4, Harmonics Messiah. 2. Grade 4, Cosmo Winger, Unibird Galaxy. 4. Grade 4, Heatwave Beast, Geoma Glass. 4. Grade 4, Strongest Command Chief, Final Dimax DX. And 1. Grade 4, Dark Superhuman Omega. The Grade 4, Harmonics Messiah. Skills, first skill, Continuous. You may only have 1 Harmonics Messiah G unit in a G deck. Second skill, Stride Step, cost. Choose 1 or more cards from hand at the sum of their grades being 3 or greater and discard them. If the cost is paid, stride this card in your Vanguard circle from face down. Third skill, Auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, choose any number of your locked cards and unlock them. Choose the same number of cards from your hand as the number of cards unlocked by this effect and discard them. Fourth skill, Auto. As a Vanguard or from the Gzone, when this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle or at the beginning of your turn, if this card is face up, your damage zone has 2 or less cards and no new card was put into your damage zone during your opponent's preceding turn, cost. Put the top card of your deck into the damage zone and draw a card. Fifth skill, Auto from the Gzone. When your Grade 1 unit is placed by riding from a Grade 0, if you went second, cost, reveal this card. If the cost is paid, put a Guardian Shield ticket into your hand. So for Harmonics Messiah, a powerful G unit to play in any deck in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. With skills, the third skill, when straight into the Vanguard, you can unlock any number of locked cards from your rear guard. Thus, thereby, in case you play against an opponent that specializes in locking your rear guards to stop your upcoming attacks or any other strategies you plan to play in the game, with this 1 G unit, just by striding it, you can unlock all of your cards, restoring all of your upcoming offensive, defensive, or any game strategy you have to use against your opponent. And then the fourth skill, when this card is straightened or at the beginning of your turn while this card is face up in your Gzone, when the conditions of the skill are met, not only do you get to place a card from your deck to the damage zone to give you a counter blast to work with, but you can also draw a card to restock your hand with. And the fifth skill from the Gzone, while you ride a Grade 1 on top of a Grade 0, if you play the cost of this fifth skill, you can add a Guardian Shield to your hand, which can serve as a 20,000 point shield to defend you with. The Grade 4, Cosmo Winger, Unibird Galaxy. Skills, first skill, Stride Step, cost. Choose 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from hand and discard them. If the cost is paid, stride this card on your Vanguard from face down. Second skill, Continuous from the Vanguard. This unit gets plus 10,000 power for each card in total among your damage zone and rear guards. And the third skill, Burst, auto, as a Vanguard once per turn. When this unit attacks, cost, turn a card from your Gzone face up. If the cost and pay, if this unit's power is 50,000 or greater, until end of battle, this unit gets +1 critical, and this unit's power is 100,000 or greater, it gets drive +2. So for Universe Galaxy, a powerful G unit to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skills, the second skill. For every card you have in your damage zone and rear guards, you can add a huge boost of power to Universe Galaxy, making your Vanguard more powerful to have a better chance to pressure or finish them off with. And then the third skill, when attacking, by paying the cost, when the conditions of the skill are met, not only do you get to give +1 critical to your Vanguard, but if the secondary condition is met, you can increase your Vanguard's drive checks, giving you a better chance to get more triggers or to simply restock your hand if the upcoming increased drive checks. The Great 4, Heatwave Beast, Geoma Glass. Skills, first skill, Strides. Stride Step, cost. Choose one or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from hand and discard them. If the cost and paid, strike this card in your Vanguard from face down. Second skill, Continuous, from the Vanguard or Gzone. If face up, all of your grade 3 on your rear guard Guardian Circle get +5,000 power and 5,000 shield and intercept. Third skill, Auto, from the Vanguard. When it attacks, cost, counterblast 1 and turn a card from your Gzone face up. If the cost and paid, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, call 2 cards from among them to the rear guard circle, shuffle your deck, and this unit gets +1 critical until end of battle for each of your grade 3 units. So for Geoma Glass, another powerful grade 4 G unit to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill, the second skill. When face up in the Gzone and Vanguard circle, your grade 3 rear guards and guardians gets +5,000 power, 5,000 shield and intercept, thereby giving you more offensive and defensive options. And the best part of this second skill, it's stackable. For the more face-up Geoma Glasses you have in your Vanguard and Gzone in total, you can keep stacking 5,000 power and 5,000 shield to your grade 3 rear guards and guardians, giving you a huge boost of power to pressure finish off your opponent, and a huge boost of defensive power to protect you for your upcoming defenses against your opponent's turn. And the third skill, when attacking, by paying the cost, you have the chance to check the top card to your deck to call 2 new rear guards, and if the secondary condition is met, you can stack a huge amount of criticals to your Vanguard to make it easier to pressure or finish them off with. The Grade 4, Strongest Command Chief, Final Dimax DX. Skills, first skill, Stride Step, cost. Choose 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from hand and discard them. If the cost and paid, strike this card in your Vanguard circle from face down. Second skill, Auto, as a Vanguard. When it attacks, cost, turn a card from your Gzone face up and put all of your resting rear guards into your soul. If the cost and paid, reveal 7 cards from the top of your deck, call up to the same number of cards as the number of face-up cards in your Gzone from among them to rear guard circle in order of highest power, and shuffle your deck. If you put 4 or more cards into your soul for this cost, all of your units get +10,000 power and +1 critical until end of turn. So for Die X, it's another powerful G unit to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill, the second skill. When attacking, by paying the cost, not only do you get to restock your soul for later soul blasting, but also if the conditions are met, you can call new rear guards onto your field to serve as front row attackers, back row boosters, or rear guards whose skills you wish to take advantage of later in that turn. And if the secondary condition of this skill is met, you can also give all of your units, Vanguard and rear guard included, a huge boost of power and critical to give you a better chance to pressure or finish them off with. The Grade 4, Dark Superhuman, Omega. Skills, first skill, Stride. Release when both players' Vanguards are grade 3 or greater. Stride Step, cost. Choose 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from hand and discard them. If the cost and paid, strike this card in your Vanguard from face down. Second skill, Auto. Counterblast 2 and Soul Blast 1. If the cost and paid, when this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, if you do, choose one of your rear guards, put into the soul, choose all of the units on your opponent's front row, and reduce those units' power by the original power of the card put into your soul of this effect until end of turn. So for Omega, another powerful G unit to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill, the second skill. When straightened and paying the cost, depending on the conditions met by this second skill, you can reduce the power of your opponent's front row, Vanguard rear guard included, giving you a better chance to pressure or finish off your opponent by reducing that opponent's Vanguard power. And of that, we just about covered the Dex G units. Next, let's get on to the Dex G Guardians. And now for the G Guardians. For the G Guardians of this deck, we are playing 2 Grade 4 Great Galactic Beast Zeal and 2 Grade 4 Giant Armored Beast Garagamelgos. The Grade 4 Great Galactic Beast Zeal. Skills for skill G Guardian, usable when both fighters' vanguards are grade 3 or greater, and the number of face-up G Guardians in your G zone is 3 or less. Opponent's turn, guard step, choose a card of heal from your hand and discard it. If the cost is paid, call this card to your Guardian circle from face down. Second skill, auto, cost Soul Blast 1. When this unit is placed on the Guardian circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's units, and it gets plus minus 5,000 power until end of battle. If the number of cards in your damage zone is more or equal to the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone, you may counter blast 1. If you do, choose one of your vanguards, and it gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Great Galactic Beast Zeal, it's pretty much a Zeal G Guardian for the Dimension Police deck. It's a skill. The second skill, just by guarding it and paying a cost of Soul Blast of 1, you get to minus your opponent's Vanguard's power by 5,000, and then if the conditions of the skill are met, you can pay an additional counter blast of 1 to give your Vanguard plus 5,000 power, making it easier to block an upcoming attack. And the Grade 4 Giant Armored Beast Garagamelgos. Skills for skill G Guardian, opponent's turn, guard step, cost, discard a card of heal from your hand. If the cost is paid, call this card to your Guardian circle from face down. Second skill, auto, when this unit is put in the Guardian circle, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose up to 2 grade 3 normal units from your drop zone, put them in your hand. This unit gets plus 5,000 shield for each card put into your hand. So for Garagamelgos, it's a powerful G Guardian to play in your Dimension Police decks with skill. The second skill, when used to guard with and paying the cost, you can take any grade 3 normal units to the drop zone to return to your hand to secure yourself new grade 3s to use your next turn, and also giving more shield for every grade 3 return to your hand by the skill. Your Garagamelgos gets plus 5,000 shield, making it easier to block your opponent's attack with Garagamelgos. And with that, we just about covered the deck's G Guardians. And of that's just all the time we have for today. First I want to say is thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. And I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And of that I say goodbye and